gay people in America, we understand canceling. It was invented on us, right? if what was actually maybe invented on you, but we had a version of it that's pretty similar to what happens today, because the main enforcement for driving homosexuals into a life of secrecy, into the closet, was that we would lose our social connections and our jobs, our status, and often just have to leave town because of the sheer shame of it, if it became known that we were homosexuals. That was the main thing we were fighting. I mean, there's also the psychiatric diagnosis and the military ban and the civil service ban and all of that. But the single biggest thing was this sense that, all of our social resources, social coercion will be applied to make this group shut up because they are so evil. They are so beyond the pale. And what I thought we were fighting for in the gay rights movement, gay and lesbian rights, and now transgender and everything else, is not the right to silence other people in the way that they silenced us, not the right to drive them out of the public square, but the right to let even wrong-headed people I think are wrong-headed and immoral, if they're not hurting me directly, if they're just saying things I disagree with, that's what I thought we were fighting for all Americans, the ability to live according to your conscience. I have this little game I play. I go to colleges and talk about free speech, and I ask for a show of hands. I say, okay, here's the proposition. Homosexuality is objectively disordered. Is that hate speech? About half the hands will go up.
I'll bet.
And you know what that is? Does that ring a bell? That's the Catholic Catechism right now. That is what Pope Francis says. And so I tell them, well, look, so, are you going to say Catholics can't speak here? Are you going to say the Pope can't speak here? Cardinals and bishops? This is Orthodox Catholic doctrine. It's Orthodox evangelical doctrine. At some point, we got to decide to live with people we disagree with profoundly over moral issues. And we got to give up the idea that confronting these ideas that we disagree with make us weak and hurt. That's condescending. I mean, gay people didn't back down in the face of these harmful ideas. We pushed back.
I hear you, man. I do. I really do. But I also hear my gay son, Glenn II, talking about how it costs lives, how violence, how they deny my humanity. I was once a better Christian than I am today. I was once an evangelical, Bible-believing Christian, more so than I am today. And my son and I have had on more than one occasion this confrontation, in which I would say something like, these, in this case, Black, evangelical, American Christians who belong to the church that I would go to are good people who happen to be mistaken about this thing. I'm in solidarity with my son. I love my son. He's gay. I accept him as a gay man. I mean, that's fine by me. I mean, that's who he is. But he would say, in response to that, they think I'm going to go to hell because of who I love. And that attitude run rampant in society fosters malicious acts of violence. There are people killing themselves because their parents won't accept them. There are people who are being bludgeoned to death because they carry themselves the way they do. And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm just saying that's the answer that I'd get. I know the response I'd get. And frankly, I don't know what to say after that. That feels like a trump card to me.
Well, I can tell you what I say, which is, of course, he's right. Harmful ideas, ignorance, bigotry have been causing severe oppression, and worse than oppression, death and misery down through human history. But if there's one thing we know, it's that for someone in political power, whatever their intentions, to put themselves in charge of deciding what the rest of us can say or can believe, is the most direct path to oppression and the most direct path to ignorance. The idea that, for example, homosexuality was a mental illness, because of that, you probably know the story of Alan Turing.
I do.
For any listeners who don't, Google it. Turing was arguably the second greatest hero of World War II after Winston Churchill.
Code breaker.
Code breaker. Yeah, he broke the codes that defeated the Nazis. He was homosexual. When this was discovered, he was put through a regime that was called chemical castration, which is what it sounds like, and he killed himself. People were subjected to electroconvulsive therapy, sometimes even lobotomy. I grew up in that world. The American Psychiatric Association did not remove homosexuality from the statistical and diagnostic manual until 1973. I was 13. I knew that if I ever told people I was gay, off to the funny farm with me, right? That's the world I know. But you change that world by fighting the ideas, by proving they were wrong. It was a scientist, Evelyn Hooker, in the early 50s, started doing psychological research showing that, in fact, in blind tests, the world's greatest psychologists could not distinguish gay people from straight people based on personality tests. So all these claims that there was something wrong with us were just wrong. It took a while for that to penetrate, but not all that long, really. It took a bit over 10 years, maybe 15. That's how you do it. You do it with the evidence and by winning the argument. You cannot win minds by silencing people. That, I think, is the fatal flaw in the argument for canceling.
Which means you would have been willing to accept the result if it had come out the other way.
If it had come out the other way. But frankly, we always knew it was bullshit. Just saying, between us.